Chapter 1. The Dust Never Settles. The town of Ember Ridge baked beneath the unforgiving sun, its red dirt streets dry as bones, its wooden storefronts sagging like tired shoulders. It was a town clinging to survival, half swallowed by prairie dust and half kept alive by those too stubborn to leave. And through that dust came the shattered remains of a stagecoach, its wheels twisted, one horse dead, the other limping and foaming at the mouth. A lone figure crawled from the wreckage, her dress torn, bonnet lost, and eyes wide with disbelief. Her name was Clara Whitmore. She had been on her way from St. Louis to marry a banker in Santa Fe, a man she barely knew but whose letters promised security. Instead, bandits descended on the coach just beyond the canyon pass, killing the driver and shooting both guards. The horses spooked and overturned the coach. Clara survived, but barely. She staggered out into the open plain, knees bloody, ribs aching. Alone. No purse, no escort, no hope. Until he came. Chapter 2. The Buffalo Hunter. Gideon Trace rode alone, as he had for years. Once a Confederate scout, now a buffalo hunter working the plains for meat and hides, he knew solitude better than most men knew their own brothers. He saw the buzzards first, then the trail of smoke and bent grass. By the time he found her, Clara had collapsed beside a twisted mesquite tree, her lips cracked, skin scorched from sun and wind. She tried to rise when she saw him, but the effort made her swoon. Gideon jumped from his horse and caught her before she hit the ground. "Easy now, miss," he said in a deep, weather-worn voice. "You're safe." Her eyes fluttered open, panic flickering in their blue depths. I don't know where they went," she murmured. "They took everything." Gideon glanced at the stagecoach, the bloodstains, the overturned wheels. He'd seen enough horror during the war and on the plains to know this wasn't the work of mere thieves. "You're lucky to be alive," he said gently. "Let's get you water first, then we'll talk." Chapter 3. Scar Tissue. Gideon took her to his camp. Just a tarp stretched between two rocks and a fire pit still smoldering. He boiled coffee and poured her a tin cup of lukewarm water. She drank like someone who hadn't tasted hope in days. "Name's Trace," he said. "Gideon Trace. Folks around here just call me the Buffalo Ghost." "Clara Whitmore," she replied hoarsely. "St. Louis. I was going to be married." "Not anymore, I reckon." The words stung, but they were true. Over the next days, Clara healed slowly under Gideon's quiet protection. Her bruises faded, but the loss lingered. Her father had spent his last dime sending her west. Now he was dead, and the man she was meant to marry would likely never know what became of her. But it wasn't just grief that consumed her. It was shame. She'd spent her whole life playing the good girl, doing what was expected. Now, stranded and dirty in the wilderness, something inside her snapped. "I'm ruined," she told Gideon one night as they sat by the fire. "No dowry, no family, no place in the world." He looked at her with those quiet, storm-colored eyes. "You're not ruined," he said. "You're reborn." Chapter 4. Trouble Brews in Ember Ridge. When Clara was strong enough, Gideon rode with her into Ember Ridge. Folks stared. A woman riding with a rough buffalo hunter raised eyebrows and sharpened tongues. But it was more than gossip that tainted the air. Danger festered in the town like a splinter under skin. Sheriff Boyd, a once honest man turned corrupt after burying too many good deputies, ruled the town with cruelty disguised as order. A local gang known as the Coulter Brothers had taken over the saloon and half the ranches outside town. Clara found a job at Miss Estelle's boarding house, scrubbing floors and serving stew to grizzled travelers. It was hard work, but honest. Gideon stayed close, sleeping outside town limits, trading hides when needed, always keeping one eye on Clara. "You don't owe me anything," she told him one morning. "I know," he replied, "but I ain't going nowhere. You're not alone anymore." Chapter 5. Fire in the Blood. Months passed. Clara became a fixture in Ember Ridge. Strong-willed, stubborn, with a quiet grace that drew admiration. She still bore scars, but they made her beautiful in ways she couldn't yet understand. Gideon visited more often, sometimes just for a meal, other times to fix a broken step or bring her a prairie rose. One evening, Clara sat with him beneath the stars, her hands wrapped around a warm cup. "Why don't you stay?" she asked softly. "Really stay. With me." Gideon hesitated. "I've done things, Clara. During the war, after. Things that make a man unfit for peace." She reached for his calloused hand. "I'm not asking for peace," she whispered. "Just you." Chapter 6. Gunpowder and Redemption. The day the Coulter brothers came for Clara, she was ready. They'd heard whispers about her connection to Gideon, about her working in town, and they wanted to hurt him. They dragged her from the boarding house, slapping Estelle aside, and tied her to the water tower in the square. "Call for your buffalo ghost now," one of them laughed. But Gideon was already there. He stepped out from the shadows, rifle slung low, eyes burning like coal. "I've killed for less," he growled. The shootout was fast and brutal. 3 of the 5 brothers died before they hit the ground. The others tried to flee, but Gideon cut them down before they could reach their horses. When the dust cleared, he untied Clara with shaking hands. "You all right?" She looked at him, tears running down her dirt-streaked face. "I am now." The townsfolk came out slowly. Sheriff Boyd, seeing the people rally behind Gideon, finally threw down his badge and disappeared that night. Ember Ridge, for the first time in years, breathed free. Chapter 7. A New Dawn. Weeks later, Clara stood on the ridge outside town, looking over the hills as wildflowers danced in the wind. Behind her, Gideon approached, a leather-bound journal in his hand. "What's that?" she asked. He smiled shyly. "Land deed, 60 acres north of here. Figured we could build something, if you'll have me." Clara felt the tears rise again, but this time they weren't from sorrow. "I lost everything," she said softly, "and somehow found everything I ever needed." Gideon pulled her into his arms. "So did I." They kissed beneath the open sky, 2 broken souls finding home, not in buildings or riches, but in each other.